Good morning, everybody. Just want to thank you on behalf of NECS for attending this week's NECS webinar. This webinar will be driven by Jeff over at PaperCut. PaperCut has some very interesting software opportunities that will help all of you as you work your way through managing your important documents on your network. So without further ado, I'm going to now pass the torch to Jeff Vincent over at PaperCut, and he will take you through the products and offerings of PaperCut. Thanks, Jeff.
Absolutely. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Jeff Vincent. I work closely with PaperCut software. I actually work for a company called ACDI. ACDI is the global leader in PaperCut distribution. So we handle licensing, installation, and third-party integration, all of the ins and outs of PaperCut software, and been doing that for about 13 years now. I've been working with PaperCut for a couple of years now, and came from a extensive sales background in retail, in the car business, etc. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at more closely at PaperCut Hive. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. As questions come up, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll do my best to touch on all of them as we go along, and then when we round out and finish up with the presentation, then we can certainly answer more questions as they come available. So PaperCut is print management software. What we mostly are focusing on today is PaperCut Hive. PaperCut MF is our flagship product. It has been in the industry for about 13 years now. We've been installing it, playing with it, configuring it. We have thousands of customers in all vertical markets across the US, Canada, Latin America, all with ACDI, and then of course across the entire globe with PaperCut as a whole. So what we're going to look at today is the new native cloud platform of print management. What we found in the industry is that about 75% of organizations are moving all of their infrastructure to the cloud in the next 5 years or less. So that may already be the case in your organization. And why is that happening? It's happening because the time it takes to manage print servers, to configure them, to make sure that they're running the most current version of software is time consuming. And somewhere along the lines, was in the invite, printing got kind of hard again. And printing is designed to be easy, so with PaperCut, what we have found is that PaperCut really prides itself on being brand agnostic. What we're really going to talk about today is the ability to print seamlessly from any device, whether that's a desktop computer, a laptop, a tablet, a Chromebook, a cell phone, absolutely anything in your organization that you may be wanting to print from, and how that's easily done. So when we install PaperCut Hive in your environment, PaperCut Hive is automatically going to discover all the printers in your organization. We're going to do that with our printer discovery tool that's built right into the software. We're going to configure that first administrative account and download the application on the workstation that user is using. So whether that's a desktop, a laptop, and we're going to start with there to start building out the edge mesh to use the current computing power in your organization to start printing. That user will get an email asking them to do 3 things: download the computer app, download the mobile app on their cell phone, and then start printing. Onboarding is very simple. We can sync with any directory source that you may be currently using, your Azure AD. We also can just send emails to your users, and I'll show you that as we kind of get along in here. And then once everyone is being tracked and we've published the printers that we need in your organization, we can also control that access. We can control what devices users have access to. We can then control whether they're printing in color or black and white, double-sided, single-sided. We're able to control how many copies they are able to release or make on the glass of your MFPs. We also are going to enable secure print release to make sure that we are managing and controlling and securing your sensitive print data. What this allows us to do is everyone prints to a virtual hold queue. That job is held there until someone walks up to a device, authenticates, and releases that print job. And they're able to do that in a multitude of ways, which you can see here on the screen. They're able to print release from their cell phone. So they can walk up, they can scan a QR code on the device and release right from their cell phone without ever having to touch the device. This is super handy. The printer tends to be a high touch environment, and in the current state of things, using their own mobile devices that they're carrying around all day tends to be super handy. And they're also able to choose from a list of printers in the environment and just release there without needing to walk up and scan a QR code. This is NFC enabled as well. So if you're using an existing ID or NFC badge system, you are able to use that with PaperCut Hive. You also can enable a PIN number that can be anywhere from 2 digits to 15 digits long. You walk up, type that code in, see the jobs that you have queued up, select the ones you'd like to release or release all, and collect those print jobs. This eliminates the need for people to print jobs, decide they don't need them, toss them in a recycle bin or in a trash can that's next to the copier. It also makes sure that the appropriate print jobs gets in the hands of the people that need them. So if someone prints out 100 pages, someone else tries to print to the same printer at the same time, all these documents are just hanging out on the tray of the copier. Someone walks by, picks up the whole stack, gets back to their office, realizes that they have someone else's print jobs and just tosses them in the trash. This ensures that that doesn't happen. Also, if you walk up to a copier and someone is doing a 1,000-page scan job, your document may come out in the middle somewhere, or you can just walk over to another available copier, log in, and release the print job there. Really just simplifying the printing experience, as well as making it very easily accessible to everyone in your organization. ID cards are also a way to authenticate if you're using some type of door access system, a key fob, HID, iClass, CIOS card for authentication into your building. You can also use that existing infrastructure for authentication for printing as well. It's convenient. Everyone simply onboards very quickly and walks up to the copier and releases their prints. I'm going to jump into the demo now so that we can kind of just walk through all of the customization and features that are available here. We make this a little smaller, jump over here. When I log into PaperCut, what you're going to see is a whole bunch of information. This is going to give you all the ins and outs of your printing environment. It'll show you your last several months of printing volume right here. If we choose network, it's going to show us all the devices that we have connected here. So we have Chromebooks, Windows. This is all my environment here at my office today. So this is a live Hive environment. We use in our office to print from. We are running Macs, iOS, Android printers. People are printing from any device seamlessly with this software. We're also able to do toner forecasting. So for those single function printers that are in people's offices, you can configure toner alerts to get notifications when they're due for new supplies. You're also going to see your top users, your top printers, to see where all your volume is coming from, as well as a lot of cost savings too in environmental information. So if your organization has a Go Green initiative, you may look at some of the reports to look at canceled jobs or jobs not released. We can secure jobs both before, during, and after printing with Hive. We're able to control who has access to the copiers. You can control that only your employees have access. You can also allow guests to, or vendors that come onto your network, to request access from your IT admin or whoever's administrating the software, and they can easily be granted access to a print queue without accessing the rest of your network. During printing, we're going to provide that secure print release, as well as after printing, we can apply digital signatures or even full page watermarks to documents to ensure that sensitive information like personal folks' PII is not just hanging out somewhere for someone to walk by and pick up. If a document is found on the floor or in a trash can in a public area. Someone could walk, pick it up, easily identify who printed it, and have the appropriate conversations to change that behavior. There's lots of rules that we can put in place here. We're able to take both a feather and a hammer approach, which is something one of my coworkers always says that I think is pretty humorous. We are able to promote two-sided printing as well as promote black and white printing. So this will just provide a suggestion to your users hey, you can save a little money or save some paper by printing this in black and white or double-sided. We also could take more of a blunt approach and just automatically configure jobs to convert from single-sided to double-sided and from color to black and white. We can do this for all users, individual users, as well as the safety net options that are built in here. That'll catch too many pages, so that extra 9, that extra 0 when someone's putting in their print count, as well as too many copies on the glass of the MFP. One of my favorite rules to discuss is the printing of duplicate documents. So you get those overzealous, trigger-happy folks that'll queue up the same print job 4, 5, 6 times until it comes out of the printer that many times. We're able to easily configure this to only allow the printing of the same document one time. That way, it's only going to show up in the release queue one time as well. So when they walk up and authenticate on a copier, they're going to see that document once, regardless of how many times they queued it up on their workstation. And they'll be able to release that document right there. And it'll only come out one time. We've talked about easy printing. So PaperCut Hive allows you to easily onboard users. And I'm going to step over there for a moment. And this is everyone that works with me here at my office. If I want to send an invite to another additional user, perhaps I have a vendor that comes in and needs to have access. I can configure them the ability to walk up and scan a QR code and require and request access. But I also could just go in here, toss their email in here, and send an invite. This will provide them with an email address that asks them to do the 3 things that we talked about in the beginning. They're going to be asked to download the computer app, download the mobile app, and then start printing. We've already configured who has access to and what printers everyone has access to when we installed the software. So once they configure and download the necessary applications, we're already tracking that user and those devices that they've logged into the software on, so they can simply start printing to the PaperCut print queue that we've assigned to them. This allows easy vendor printing. Under our printers tab, we mentioned some of the ways that we can authenticate, but let's talk about something that I'm super excited about today. We can actually now embed on HP equipment. This functionality was released just 2 weeks ago. And so all of the HP equipment that you have in your offices, we're now able to embed the PaperCut Hive application on. This allows you to not only track the printing to all those devices, but also track the copies, the scans, the faxes, and have some control over that functionality as well. If we choose this device here, we're going to see a lot of information about the device. We're going to see its IP address, the make, the model, etc. But we're also going to have the ability to print a label. Once we print this label and we put it on the device, users will easily be able to walk up, scan this QR code, or use their NFC reader. They even could just type in this 5-digit PIN number to release a print job from that device right on their cell phone. It's very, very simple and is designed to make printing a seamless, easy process in your organization. This is an entirely scalable solution. It is licensed based on either the number of users you have or the number of devices, whichever option you choose, depending on the needs of your organization. Typically, in a larger organization, you have tons of employees and less printers or less copiers. So we'll just license the devices. You'll get unlimited users. And NECS is experienced in the installation, configuration, as well as working closely with my support team to get that all configured in the manner that makes the most sense for your organization. So let's talk about how we create that environment. PaperCut uses and refers to a term called edge mesh. This allows us to use the existing computing power in your organization to provide secure printing without the need for a print server or any type of cloud server or Azure, AWS, even rack space, licensing, and additional cost. We will configure a super node for your first admin. And this allows us to probably put that on a desktop or a laptop that stays in the building, perhaps oftentimes doesn't get shut off. You'll see that my super node is a laptop here. This is Nathan Humble. He's one of my support guys. I don't know that he ever goes home. So his device is configured as our super node. And then we have several standard nodes, devices that come and go, like lots of folks' laptops. And then we have our passive nodes that are in and out, off and on, all over the building. This allows us to create that network and pass print jobs through these devices to securely hold the jobs, encrypt them as they pass through these devices, and show up at your printer ready to be printed. The only information that's passed to this PaperCut cloud is the basic printing DNA, like the number of pages, whether it was color or black and white, single-sided, double-sided. All of that information goes to the PaperCut cloud. But this network that we've created also means that it's not contingent upon your internet access. So if we think of this blue line here as your internet access, as long as these devices are on and in your building, you'll still be able to print. This information that's passed to the PaperCut cloud will simply just be held at the devices and passed when your internet connection is restored. There are lots of built-in reports here as well for you to easily identify where the waste and where the potential cost savings is in your organization. You're able to pull up this story tree that's built right into the software. You'll see that your most active user is Ryan Husinga, your total number of pages, your most active device. You'll see that we don't do a whole lot of printing here. My most active device only has printed 48 pages. Being a print management software and everyone knowing that they're being tracked, we tend to not just print for personal use or hardly print at all outside of my marketing department. You'll see that we have 19% one-sided, 13% color, which means that the bulk of our printing is done in double-sided and black and white. It is designed that way. You'll see also under our job log, we'll be able to see exactly who's printing what. We're going to see the name of the document, the DNA of that document, who printed it, where it was printed. It's going to show you, we're also able to reprint those documents right from here. You'll actually get a snapshot as well of what the document looks like. So if you need to audit any of these documents, you're able to do that. You're also able to export reports based on a bunch of different ranges. We can export this current view, or we can choose from this list of filters to really drill down and identify the reports that we want to see. So whether that is the attributes, the number of pages, the functionality, the print, the copy, the scan, the fax, and also jobs that were canceled because no one released them. So that'll show us a lot of savings, as well as jobs that were held in the queue, jobs that were successfully released. All of this information we're able to easily identify right from the software here. I do want to take a moment, as I did see a question pop up here.
I'm not seeing the question, Jeff. Did they put their hand up?
Oh, nope. I was looking at my chat, not my Q&A. My apologies. All right. We'll just keep running through this. So if we go back to our homepage here, what we're going to see is any existing error messages on our device. You can also configure notifications for this as well. So if your devices are offline, they're out of paper, they have low toner, you're going to easily be able to configure notifications to identify and let you know when you might need some service or you might need some additional devices and additional supplies. You're going to see your jobs held. So however many of your users have queued up print jobs, you're going to easily be able to see that here. And then, of course, down here, you're going to be able to see your unclaimed and canceled jobs. So you'll see that you'll have lots of savings built right in here. You will be able to see where jobs came from. So you'll get reminders also on your cell phone. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stop sharing. Actually, here, let me queue a print job first. All right. So PaperCut uses the native print functionality of all of your devices. So your users are not going to need to learn a new way to print. They're still going to hit Control P or File Print the same way that they do today. Once they do that, if I just hit Control P on my device and I pull up this screen, everyone will recognize this screen. It looks similar or different depending on the operating system that you're using. I'm using a Windows operating system here in my office. The printer that I'm printing to is my PaperCut printer. It is set to my default printer. This is my virtual Find Me print queue. This will allow me to release from any device in my office here or in my organization. If I have multiple locations or if I have any employees, which I do have employees that are working from home, they're also able to print to the same print queue and release those print jobs either when they arrive at the office or on their home printer. PaperCut is an incredible solution for managing home-based printing. Oftentimes, and because of COVID, a lot of organizations sent their employees home first and then followed that up with sending them printers or asking them to go purchase printers that the company is managing, paying for toner, paper, supplies for. And PaperCut Hive allows us to track, manage, and control those home-based devices without the need for a costly VPN or Citrix connection to that home office. Keep in mind that there may be a need for that depending on the needs of the organization. If you're accessing documents outside of your organization's infrastructure, or excuse me, or there's a need for that, we can still manage those devices with the VPN or Citrix connection, but it's not necessary. So once I queue up this print job, I choose all my attributes, I hit print, I then will get a notification on my application here, which I'm going to stop sharing so that I can show you my cell phone here. I got a notification that says my document is ready to print. So if I stop sharing here for a moment, and I open up the PaperCut application on my cell phone, let me see how close I can get to my screen here. You'll see that I have a print job that is waiting release. Let's see how close I can get. If I choose print this document right from my cell phone, I'm provided with a litany of options to release that print job. I can choose from a list of devices on my cell phone, which will show me all the devices that are ready and waiting for me to walk up and release that print job from, which I can do this right from my cell phone. So I can choose the HP printer that I know is over in my professional services department, and I can release the print job right there. I can go and collect it. Or I can walk up to that device, I can scan a QR code using the camera on my cell phone, and it'll pop up. It'll ask me if I would like to release that print job from that device. I'll simply say yes, and it'll release. Or I can type in that 5-digit code that I showed you on that sample label to just release simply from that device. If I have it configured to type in a PIN number or use my existing ID badge to release, I do have a key fob that we use in our office to access our building that I can also walk up, tap on the card reader on the device, and release my print job right there. If I queue up multiple print jobs, I'll see a list of them. I'll have the option to release them all or be able to choose from the list of documents that I have queued up. If I decided that I don't need 3 of the 5 that I queued up, I simply just choose the 2 that I want and release them. Let me go back to sharing here momentarily. There we go. So then right here under my job log, you'll see the document that I have queued up here. I chose to release it from that HP device over in my professional services division. It'll tell me that it's 3 pages, 3 color pages, and it's really 2-sided. It'll say that I printed it and the date and time that I printed it at. If I select on this device, it'll say that it's still pending release. I haven't quite processed yet, but it'll give me all the attributes of that job. So if an administrator in my organization needs to check on that, needs to audit what I was printing, they're easily able to do that right from here. What's also nice about this software is that it is continuous deployment. What that means is that with most other print management softwares, even PaperCut MF, our flagship PaperCut product, when new versions become available, when updates are created, which happens about 4 to 6 times a year to the software, new versions will need to be downloaded and upgraded to the software to add those additional features. With continuous deployment with PaperCut Hive, as new features become available, they'll simply be ready for you to use. Being a cloud-based product, there's no need to download or upgrade any software. So as new features become available, you'll simply have access to those. You'll see several add-ons listed here. You'll see the HP printer embedded apps that are available. You'll see Power BI connectors for additional reporting as well as Tableau. And as those new features become available, you'll simply see them here under the add-ons. You can choose them and add them to your software. And then as new security features, new rules features become available, even as printers are added in your environment, that printer discovery tool will continue working as you continue using the software. When new devices become available, you'll see them listed under your printers tab. They'll simply become available. We'll choose to publish them to our users. If we choose to publish them, they'll simply be added to the PaperCut print queue that's available, and your users will easily have access to that new device. It is incredibly simple to set up, simple to manage, and simple to configure. Let's see here. Did want to jump back into the safety net here and show you some of the ways that we can easily configure access so that we can prompt to convert jobs from single-sided to double-sided, or from black and white from color to black and white. And we can do that always. We can do it sometimes. We can do it rarely. Whatever type of restrictions you'd like to put in place here, we can easily configure with a couple clicks. So if we want to prompt to switch jobs from color to black and white on anything over 25 pages, we can easily configure that here, set that rule in place. It'll also show us how many pages have been converted since I've installed the software. So you'll see that we've converted 180 pages from color to black and white since October. If we choose our double-sided here, we can do the same thing. We can also auto 2-sided. So we can say that we're going to automatically convert jobs to double-sided, and we're either going to alert our users that we're doing that, or we're not going to alert them. So if your company has a policy that everything is printed double-sided, we can simply do that silently in the background. 58 sheets have been saved in my office since October 2020, or we can send a notification to the user that'll let them know that their job has been converted. If they do need to print something in color, they can respond to that notification and get an administrative approval, who can just come in here and make it a couple clicks and allow them to print in color if needed, print single-sided if needed. We also can do this for all users, groups of users, or specific users, however that needs to be configured. with our safety net options, there's some pretty cool stuff in here, which we talked about, the too many pages, but we're also going to catch some problem documents, or if some uncommon paper sizes have been queued up, we can choose what paper sizes are uncommon for our organization. Maybe we don't use legal, or we don't use letter, we just simply print 11 by 17. Then anything that is requested or queued up in just uncommon paper sizes, we can get a notification about and automatically convert those. And then the last thing that I'll show you here is this live feed. So this dashboard is accessible to anyone who has administrative access in your organization. You can set multiple admins or just have one, depending on the needs of your business. You're going to be able to see this live feed here of exactly who's logging in as an admin, who's logging into their dashboard to see their own trends, their own information. You're also going to see in real time who's printing what. You'll see that my document is right here. And then when new users are created, you'll get notifications as they complete their onboarding process from their email. I'll go ahead and stop sharing. I definitely do want to leave some time for any questions that may have come up throughout the conversation that we've had today. It is a lot of information to take on, and I would welcome with the NECS team, who I've been working with for, I believe, a couple of years now, to provide PaperCut for a lot of their customers. We'd be happy to have a one-off conversation, show you a more in-depth demo, even install a free trial of the software for you. If you'd like to get it in your environment, kick the tires, and check it out for yourself to see how it would fit and be scalable to your organization. Checking my chat. I still don't have any questions. I'll certainly leave it on there. Don, you want to throw in anything here at the end?
Yeah, I wanted to thank everybody for attending. This is one of a series that we're working on, and I think if you really look at some of the control that you can have with regard to your document printing and workflow through your organization, this is a great way for you to mine and monitor that traffic of preferred and basic, essential, and proprietary documents in your organization, without having the fear of just having them left out to be taken or vital information stolen, as Jeff brings up. So I think this is really something, if you're not looking at now, something you should certainly be considering on how do we better protect our network from hackers or other nefarious ways of losing our information.
Absolutely, I second that completely. And if there are no questions, we can certainly end the call. I thank everyone for their attendance today. I love to do presentations like this, and I'm eager to do several more. I'm sure that we'll put together some others with the NECS team. And if you have any other questions that come up, please feel free to reach out to the NECS team, and they can coordinate with me.
Great. Thanks again, Jeff. I appreciate it. And again, if you like, you can always reach out to Dan or Joel, who have been the organizers of this, or any of us here at NECS. We'd love to set you up with another more in-depth one-on-one with Jeff and his team. So again, don't feel like just because you don't say anything now, you can still say it to us at any time. We're always listening. So again, thanks for everybody for joining and attending today's webinar, and look forward to hearing from you and working with you in the future. Thanks. Thanks, Jeff.